But to get back to the original question of how does radical love transform the relationships that I'm in, some of them they transform instantly. Instantly. In some of them it takes a little bit of time. But if I consistently show up with that same all-encompassing, all-accepting, unconditional love and acceptance, if I show up day after day after day after day, people will either change or they will cease to be around me, period. And then again, I just love them from afar, and I understand it's not about me. They're just not ready for this kind of responsibility. They're not ready to face their issues and take responsibility for their own emotional state. They want to continue being the victim and blaming other people for their suffering. And I refuse to continue to live my life that way because I've had a little taste of this unbelievable magic that can happen and this unbelievable bliss and love and just beauty that opens up. Once I started applying these principles, I have gotten, just miracles, absolute miracles, right in front of my eyes. Like the whole loomingness from my head of you're gonna die any second to, clouds parting and the sun rays coming down and birds chirping and flowers blooming. Really that black and white, that much of a transition. I've seen it happen right in front of my eyes. And just a little taste of that made me want it more and more and more. And now I'm reconditioning myself to be addicted to all that feel-good stuff. And in getting my subconscious mind to where 90% of my choices lead me to happiness instead of misery. But it takes reinforcing and reinforcing and reinforcing those neural what is that word? Neural pathways, the stuff in the brain, reconditioning those pathways to make that habit, that reaction to stop and find the love, make that so strong that is the first response. That becomes my reaction mode. And that becomes my second nature. It's moving actually my first nature, which is the way that I feel that we were made, to be just these loving, crazy about each other creatures, have that first instinct become my only instinct, to where there's not a second nature that I default to, a second survival nature that I fall back on. Instead, that's the only thing that comes out of me. It's just love, 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 love. That's my goal. That's what I'm striving for. But it ain't ever going to happen unless I step up and take responsibility for my own choices and start doing things differently, because I tell you, the last 32 years of my life definitely have not gone that way in all of my relationships, in all of my interactions with people. My goal is to find why and how, and just I'll dive head first into people to find all the greatness about them, help them see it so that they believe it, so they stop believing all the fake stories about themselves, and they stop acting like the jerk that they think they have to be in order to get by, or in order to preserve themselves, or in order to get there before somebody else takes it from them. If I can switch all of that simply by switching it within me first. And then I'm teaching people how to treat me in a very serving way. And it's all very subtle. And again, it could be flipped upside down and used in a very manipulative way. And that's, again, what's the underlying message? Am I making decisions that are based in love and faith, or am I making decisions that are based in fear? Because if I'm making decisions that are based in love and faith, then I have to, by default, get love and faith back in return. If I'm making decisions based in fear, I'm going to be attracting more fearful situations into my life. And it can transform any relationship. We can't argue with something that's not arguing back with you. You can't fight with somebody that's not fighting with you. You might really frustrate the other person, and they could decide that they hate you and never want to be around you again, but you got to let that go. You got to love yourself more than you love other people's approval. And I have to love myself more than I love other people's approval. So I just kind of check in with stuff. Okay, is this a fear-based decision, or is this a heart-based decision? And if it's a heart-based decision, it's not one that I'm willing to back down from. If somebody loses, if somebody has love withheld from them by making a decision, then I don't feel it's the right decision. But if the decision's like a win-win situation, or at least a win-win situation, then then I know that that's going to be a more serving path to go to. So it's becoming more aware of myself, my reactions, my choices, and what it is that I'm giving to people. And that'll totally switch what I'm getting in return. And if you're not sure what you're giving to people, take a look around you. Take a look around you. All the good, all the bad, all the ugly, all the right, all the wrong. We'll use all the words that I said don't exist. Everything that's happening to you that is in alignment with your preferences, and all the things that are happening to you that are not in alignment with your preferences, they are all an exact reflection of what it is that you're giving out into this world. If you're getting any kind of negative feedback, you're giving out negativity somewhere. And that's the bottom line. And it was when I started taking that to heart and, again, being the example, then that's where everything kind of switched. And actually, that's something we talked about last time. When you don't know what to do, ask yourself, what would love do? What would love do? Would love throw something right back in their face and talk about how much you've never liked their mama anyway? No, love would not do that. Love would say, okay, I bow down to you, I accept you, I honor you. So make that choice and see what kind of results you get. And start with start with the places that you're detached. And that brings me back to what we were saying earlier about detachment. You do this, you give it unconditionally. Meaning, if you're attached to, okay, I had this really tough person, I've had a bad relationship with my mom my whole life, not me, but if you're thinking to yourself, I've had a bad relationship with my mom my whole life, I'm going to go home and put to work what Chrissy said, and I'm just going to be nice. And in being nice to her, I know she's going to turn around, I know she's going to change, and I know it's going to happen, and that's what you expect. You hold on to that attachment. I'm going to be nice with her for 24 hours straight, and I know she's just going to melt. And you go home and you do that, and you don't get that response. Don't stop giving the love, because it's not going to happen on your time frame. If it was in your time frame, it would have never happened to begin with. It would have happened yesterday. It's going to happen in the perfect timing. So I would encourage you not to go into it saying, I'm going to be nice to you, and when you're not nice to me back, I'm going to change the way that I behave because you're doing the same thing that you were doing before. You can't go into it being kind to somebody looking for a certain agenda. Or, I tell you what, with this client or with this prospect, I'm going to be so nice to them. I'm just going to compliment them. I'm going to tell them how great they are. And I know that they'll sign up with me. I know they'll buy my product if I just give them that, because that's what Chrissy said. Not so much like that. It's giving and giving and giving, not ever expecting or knowing where it's going to return. Because it might not come back from your mom, but it's going to come back from the person standing in line with you at the grocery store, or it's going to come back from you with your sister or somebody else. It's not necessarily an even exchange, cause and effect, the way that our mind likes to see things, but it doesn't mean that it's not coming back to you. So just know that it's coming. My camels are coming. They're on the way. You got it. That's just 10. That's just 10 of them before you go back to the rest of the herd, But
you're also doing it. You're doing it to help maybe transform relationship, but you're also doing it to not hold on to the negativity. So, it's kind of a twofold thing. It's like, maybe your mom my mom would still treat me that way till the day she died. Who knows? But at least I'm not absorbing that negativity and feeling that negativity about myself or putting it out again.
Absolutely. So it's great that everybody else feels wonderful by the kindness that I give them, but ultimately, I'm looking for my happiness. So again, it's the shadow and the light. They're there all the time, the love and the darkness. Whichever way you turn it, there's two sides to that coin. Any love that I withhold from another person is love that I'm withholding from myself. Because if I am not giving you love, I am stopping myself from receiving love from you or from somebody else. So any kindness that I give to somebody else is kindness that I give to myself. Any forgiveness that I give to somebody else, it's a gift that I'm giving to myself. And this radical love, this dropping down the right and wrong, this getting beyond right and wrong to this ultimate, unconditional, all-accepting love, that's where you can get to true forgiveness. Because forgiveness isn't even forgiving the other person. True forgiveness is forgiving yourself for your your misperceptions of that other person.